The Department of Veterans Affairs has abruptly terminated union contracts for most of its 450,000-strong workforce, stripping hundreds of thousands of employees, nurses, technicians, food service workers, and more are losing collective bargaining protections they've had for years. The move comes after a March executive order from President Trump citing national security and a court ruling clearing the way. Effective immediately, staff unions like the American Federation of Government Employees and National Nurses United have lost their bargaining power. Joining us now is the American Federation of Government Employees, AFGE, National President Everett Kelly. Everett, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me tonight. Thank you.
So when we share stories like this, and we're talking, I'm sharing 400,000, I'm naming various professions, so many people who aren't aware of what's going on, this is just numbers to them. Can you talk about the real effects of what's happening with people on the ground from what you're seeing?
Okay, thank you so much. You know, for AFG, we represent 820,000 federal and DC government workers. And we are facing unprecedented attack, not by our choosing, but by the reckless attacks of this administration that is determined to silence federal workers and weaken our unions and dismantle the very structure that uphold public service and accountability, such as workers in the VA, okay? Now, when you start taking away the rights of workers in the VA, it's going to adversely affect the veterans that they service every day. You know, the protection of unions has been good for the VA. I would say that because you think about a workplace where an employee has to deal with an employer that screams and yells and holler at them all day and then expect them to be able to perform in an effective manner. It doesn't happen. And with a union, you know, you give that opportunity for an employee to be protected, you know, from those type of attacks. You know, just think in terms of a veteran that need help, right? But a person that has been scolded, a person that has been discriminated against, rather, you know, they have to contend with that. And therefore, when the veteran come in for service, you know, they might not get the very best care or very best service because of the trauma that is going on inside of that employee's head.